So, two other games in the early window in the Premier League. Bournemouth led, but not Villa, that's your boys.
You got Villa in your mind, MD.
Exactly. Nottingham Forest came back and got a point in that one. But I want to end our chat by talking about what on earth is going on with Chelsea. They conceded 4 at home to Wolves. They were 4-1 down until Thiago Silva got a consolation to make it 4-2. Matheus Cunha with a hat-trick for Wolves, who just quietly going from strength to strength under the coach Gary O'Neill following Lopetegui's departure in the summer. They came close against Man United as well. They're scoring goals, but Chelsea are conceding loads. How worried should Chelsea fans be, LME?
They've conceded more goals than they have scored in the Premier League this season so far. And I think that gives you one part of the issue. And let me give you another statistic here. In February of 2023, so this time last year, Chelsea were 10th in the Premier League with 31 points after 23 matches. This time, a year later, Chelsea are 11th in the Premier League with 31 points after 23 matches. And what does that tell you? A flat line. Despite all this money, despite all this investment, we remain, and despite multiple changes in management, we remain the same old Chelsea from last year. And that is an alarming thing for the Blues because of all the money. We're talking about more than $1 billion by Todd Bowley's consortium to be spent in this squad. And I think that to me has been my evergreen, ever-going theme about Chelsea Football Club, that there's a lot of talent there. No doubt. Cole Palmer being one of the shining prospects of this season. Of course, we've got, Conor Gallagher has shown some good things in the past as well. And there's clearly a lot of individual brilliance when you look across the pitch. But to me, when I look at Chelsea week in and week out, and by the way, I saw them live against Villa in the FA Cup. Like, it was the best performance I've seen them all season. But then you see this kind of performance. And because you have all these individual talents, that's all they are. I don't see a collective with Chelsea. And that's a problem. That's a major problem, because when you don't see a collective and you don't see a team that's united, when it comes to week in and week out, then you don't know where they're going to end up. All we know is this, that after all that money being spent last year, right, and this year, exactly the same calendar date, they remain with the same points after 23 matches. That's a worry.
I think it's a good point about individually compared with collectively, because Caicedo's had a shocker with one of the goals, and he lost possession. He didn't really track back. And individually, yeah, they've got talent, but are they any further forward from 12 months ago? Because listen to this for a back five. Petrovic in goal, Gusto, Disasi, Thiago Silva, who's a year older, and Ben Chilwell, who's back from injury, but is probably a better left wing back than he is a left back. How are you keeping clean sheets with that?
Yeah, you can. Disasi conceded an own goal. Gusto, who, I get it, he's a young player, but he made many mistakes, and it hasn't been the first time since I've seen that. Ben Chilwell remains an injury-prone player. He's an amazing talent, but he's never fully fit over the specter of 2 months, and that's a worry. Thiago Silva, as amazing as his career has been, is Thiago Silva. He is aging. And Petrovic, to your point, to me, he's not the kind of goalkeeper that I say, wow, I feel safe between the sticks. With all due respect, he's still learning. So to your point, there's a reason why they have conceded more than they have scored, because individually they're making mistakes. And again, you mentioned Moises Caicedo. You put him with a Roberto De Zerbi Brighton, it works. Why? Because there's a collective philosophy there. Whether you lose or win, you know what his role is. I don't think at this point Caicedo knows exactly what he needs to do next to Enzo Fernandez. And that's a worry, especially when you have somebody like Mauricio Pochettino, a very experienced Spanish-speaking manager who should be able to help him. It's a massive worry for Chelsea right now.
One final question about Chelsea. They are closer to the bottom three, the relegation zone, than the top four. So for Pochettino going forward, is it too big a job for anybody? Never mind Pochettino. And if you're going for someone like Osimhen, a decent striker who'll get you goals, why would he come to a team that's not going to be playing European football probably next season, never mind Champions League football?
Fantastic question. Because why would you? Why would you come to this? Because of the paycheck? I'd like to think that Victor Osimhen is not just about that. He loves the Premier League, but he also wants trophies, right? So he's just another example of it. Now, about the beginning of that question about Pochettino. I have been a fan of Mauricio Pochettino for a very long time. I do believe that there is time needed and patience to understand his philosophy. In fact, just like I said, the game against Villa in the FA Cup, I thought it was the best I've seen them play. But is this the right squad? And if you take out Pochettino, who is going to replicate this? What, Mourinho for a third time over? Like Tuchel? Like, I just think that there's bigger issues here. And there's not a clear identity from a sporting director perspective. I feel like definitely as soon as Todd Bowley arrived, it was more about getting the hot little property player that could fit within the marketing perspective. Enzo Fernandez, Rui Costa, the sporting director, made a lot of money. Like, it's just a lot of individual talent that don't work together collectively. So whatever you put in as a manager, that's your biggest hurdle, and that's a problem. So yeah, Victor Osimhen, why would you want to come to this? You want to play Champions League, don't you?
Just shows you, never mind the manager of a football team, never mind the players in a football team, just as important is the recruitment for a football team, and Chelsea proving that. They lose by 4-2 at home to Wolves. We'll be back later today with all the reaction from Arsenal against Liverpool, which kicks off shortly. My thanks to Rob Dawson at Old Trafford and to Luis Miguel. We will be back in a couple of hours for Arsenal against Liverpool reaction. Bye for now.